energy checkup. I'll just wait for a few people to get on. I was just talking to a particular person. I won't say who they are. Just wait for a few people to wake up, wherever you are. How are we all anyway? You're lucky you got my head on here, honestly. Hi, Giggle. How has your frequency been, my love? How have you been doing? Are we motivated? You're being better. Roger. I'm the perfect avoider. I'm like, oh, I'll just do some gardening. That'll make me feel better. You should see the state of this yard. Okay, I'll show you a typical Libran / Cancer moon rising. Okay, the Cancer aspect of me is I'm staying friggin' home. The Libran side of me is shit, better get balanced. So have we been purging and releasing things? I mean, my dog was cremated. Oh, God. He got parvo years ago and he died 15 years ago. So I decided finally to release my puppy dog. And it was, yeah, quite emotional, but I buried him in my little garden. So he's buried in the yard now. And I could never find a location for him. But I sort of thought, you know, with the moment where everything is in a sense of release, we need to let go, you know. It was time to do that. So it was quite divinely guided because I was cleaning the shed out, looking for tools, and it was like, oh, God, I've got my dog in a box in the shed. That's not cricket. So anyway, I've put new gardens in, and this is the extent of a Libran / Cancer moon, right? Look at this. This is me gardening. I mean, seriously, get a life, really. Anyway, regardless of that, I wanted to do a checkup with you guys. It's like, oh, I don't want to purge. Oh, I'll just get tucked into something to avoid it. You can't avoid it. It's going to be there regardless. So, yeah, even if it's productive, a lot of these chakras, when they're imbalanced, to be proactive in your life is sort of like, yeah, at times it can be an aspect of avoidance, but it's also productive at the same time. So it's a win-win, right? But ultimately, you know, with the purging and the releasing of things we need, we also do need to meditate on those feelings that we're physically having now and then. And I'm just looking at something that someone sent me. It's quite funny. She's got the little mouth and it's throwing up. Anyway, we'll leave that alone. You know who you are. You're probably watching on YouTube right now. So sometimes when you guys have bookings with me, I will randomly send you messages of things that have come to my mind. And a lot of us, you know, through the readings and where I pull chakra cards, you need to be mindful of ailments and where they interlink. Because although in the reading a chakra will come up for you, some of the purging will be directly connected to your Pacific chakra. So if you're finding it, you know, you're having throat aches, you need to go do some throat chakra work. If there's headaches, it's your third eye. Starting to become aware of your chakras and where they're releasing, you know, pistons, so to speak, of what's going on internally with you. Now, a lot of people, if you have digestive related disorders or issues there, it is directly connected to owning your personal power. And it's quite ironic because as I said, I have started trying to get the chakra aspect connected to my website in between bookings videos. So I'm trying to do it. It's almost there. But that will kind of inform you guys of what food groups to eat, how to balance that chakra. And obviously we've got more that are opening up as we're going through the ascension, which we can discuss later. But being aware of those chakras, I mean, because solar plexus has come up quite a bit for Divine Feminine. And it is connected to your personal power. So, you know, have a look at where you can actually take power back in your life personally. If that means from you being proactive within your exercise regime, your diet, your creativity in life as well. Yeah, it has been very heavy. But you'll notice with the heaviness, you'll have that moment where you're going through it. the more you release it, the more you're going into it and out of it very quickly. So you will have those moments. And really the key is, while you're focusing on DM, yes, you're wondering when it's going to happen, but also when it is becoming overwhelming, you seriously need to focus the energy back onto self just to keep you going. I mean, short of booking a reading every 20 minutes, that's going to become problematic for you. So to help you stay grounded during that time, it's real crucial, especially with the ascension symptoms we're having, is to try and be proactive in your life. But this is the thing. This person I spoke to this morning, I mentioned the chakra that came up because we discussed something. You've got to understand the masculine is you. So if there's an aspect or a situation going on that you're saying, I'm not fussed by them anymore, but you directly have an opinion about them, that's really something that you're going to need to look at inside yourself, because they are the other half of yourself. Yes, they deal with their life in a different way. Hi, Michelle. But, do use that to actually help you kind of work out and process what is going on with you, because we hold both energies. We are all kind of dual in that masculine, feminine energy. Where can you take your power back? Where can you be proactive in your life and not be, don't feel the need to wait, in a sense, and I don't think many of you are. It's more, what physically and spiritually can you do right now to give your life the happiest life. I mean, last night, obviously, I did a lot of gardening, and I've got my daughter over, which is always very enjoyable, might I add. So she just brings a lot of socialisation to the home when I'm really liking to be in hermit mode. But hey, we'll go with that. So I had many tea light candles, so I turned my garden into a starlight garden, and yeah, it was quite enjoyable. But you've got to find those moments. You've got to find something in your day to beautify, be that a bubble bath, be that going to socialise with friends. Although I can tell you, it's not I don't want to. Some of mine has been scheduling, but I'm quite enjoying the aspect of being, proactive with work and, dealing with you guys. So it's quite fulfilling, really. But you've got to find that aspect of fulfillment to keep the motivation moving forward, because a lot of the journey does take us away from ourselves, where we physically didn't even know we were doing that. But then you do come to a stage where you physically get to that place where you're realizing that in order to heal, sometimes you do need to be single for a while, so that you can come full circle, so you can clear out the old. And look, some of you might have been on this journey for a long time and been single for a long time, but if spiritually the work hadn't been done to a point where you had really squeezed out all that crap, it's divinely guided. So being in your energy and starting to love your life and live for the now, including sending love, unconditional love, obviously, and you need to spiritually get to that depending on what has happened to you, that's really going to help you move forward. Anything anyone else has been feeling? Yes, I'm still smoking. Just not indoors. So what have you been doing? Because I do need to get on here at some stage, and I'm trying to work the format of it, where we can do... I've probably slowed down. When I'm gardening and that, I have slowed down. My throat chakra had cleared, obviously. But I will be doing something in a sense of us manifesting, definitely by the 12th. Remember, we've got the eclipse, partial eclipse. Anything that you're needing to clear out of your life, start decluttering. Make room for the new. Cool. Good to see you, Michelle. It's all wherever your energy is guided. I've probably done a lot of family work, on that aspect, and come full circle to a point where, especially twins, ultimately speaking, in a twin flame journey, feminines and masculines really, do really have that aspect where there's been dealings with family that have not been of the perfect nature, and it's not who's right, who's wrong, it's just where the frequency was at, and your mindset being the black sheep of the family. But definitely finding that balance or closure in situations is very divinely guided too, and it will ultimately bring itself to you of a natural accord, where the opportunity to deal with those things can come about. And it takes stages. It is like the twin flame journey. But when you do have those opportunities, how you directly feel, the more grounded you are vibrationally, where you start to understand. Even if you can look at your life pattern and say, and you know, from a manifesting point of view, the adversity helps you become more spiritual. But also when you get to a place where you realize you don't have to keep recreating the same cycles, you can leave those cycles behind. That brings you to quite a balanced place. It does take a while to get there, but just be gentle with yourselves that through each stage, different situations connected to that same environment will evolve and change. So when it comes to the family, I know personally over the last 2 years, there's been a mass transition. Very much for a while, I took on the energy of being the victim. And it's not to say that that wasn't true, but very much the way I've spiritually evolved over many, many years, I've also realized that how I use my energy is crucial as well. And by giving power away, that creates an imbalance. So it's not that you're always with everybody in your life going to be at that like-minded energy. But, you know, many feminines would have got to the point where they felt, I'll just say it, prosecuted to a point where they might have gone into hiding and really not wanted to have that association, sometimes with partners, with friendships, really questioning their intuition of whether they could trust people in general and whether they could even be associated with people, if it was safer to actually be hermetized. The hard point is that, you know, I've always been very much a straight shooter. So to me, I don't want to change that aspect of myself. Yes, there's been mourning, and yes, it has been great betrayal, but I don't want to live in a box for the rest of my life. Otherwise, we might as well be 6 feet under. Let's just face it. And I mean, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying, let's be real here. Yes, okay, many feminines are going through a great deal of healing. Then we've got the purging on top of it with the ascension. So it does make for quite a difficult time, and I do want to make some videos connected to how we can actually work through those blocks, because there's certain vibrations that have been coming through where, and I don't like, I want to focus on it more from the perspective of just healing, not masculine, feminine, in general, healing videos of tools we can spiritually use to help remove it, deal with it, and process it. Because really, you know, we know this process of purging, but a lot of us are directly giving our power away and not really having any set format or techniques, perhaps, that we could attempt to try to help us through that. So I'm doing some research into that, of ways we can look at things, ways we can deal with things, so that when we're getting these situations coming up on top of the ascension, we're actually utilizing then tools that we can at least help, not alleviate it, because we don't want to sweep it under the carpet, but attempt to try to remove, to gain clarity on it. But you know, some of the pain has come from masculine. I can say some, I'm being humble here, some. Lots of it, though, has been a lifetime. So it hasn't been, you know, it hasn't been one area. It's very much been many areas. But ultimately speaking, masculine would have gone through this as well. So, you know, obviously, it's like saying to somebody, oh, yeah, but, you know, there's other people that have it harder. Yes, that's true. But that makes no difference if you're the one currently dealing with that energy. So, yes, granted, we are humble enough to acknowledge the fact that there is always somebody worse off than us, but we cannot give the best of ourselves if we can't wring out that old crap to be able to give the best to universe. So It's really essential and crucial that we do this for ourselves. So many times when we're saying, when is twin coming, we're still directly looking outside of ourselves. And it's not that we don't want that. It's more the fact that both and collectively and spiritually, how do we actually have a really good quality relationship if we have a real shitty relationship with ourselves? And that's us not being fair to ourselves. So, you know, a lot of times in a twin flame journey, and this is for masculine and feminine, the one thing we never give ourselves permission to do is just be alone. Just to be alone for a little bit, just to get to a point where you can say, you know what, I've had a pretty shitty ride. Life has dealt me some real friggin' lemons, and yeah, I've made plenty of lemonade. I've made the friggin' lemonade stand. I've made an empire. But let me just be. So really spiritually, some of us do need to just temporarily, especially during this ascension process, just ground ourselves and just process everything that's happened to a point where we can go, okay, now I'm feeling more in line with who I am, how I feel, because it's a bit like going to the shopping center and you know you are overdue to do that shopping. And I mean, let's face it, females, and look, this is not for everyone, obviously, but this is more me. If I know what I'm looking for, it's okay. I'm in and I'm out, and that's the way I like it. Otherwise, let's do internet-based shopping because we can scroll at leisure. But if you're hungry and you are doing food shopping, which, let's face it, parents, if you have 3 screaming kids in the trolley and you're hungry on top of that, you're going to put so much crap in that trolley because you're not clear. Okay. So that's kind of the perspective I'm trying to give you. Or you're going to buy fatty, junky food because you're so hungry. Number 1 rule. You want to shop healthy, please eat before you go shopping, because you are going to buy things that you physically don't need, and you'll get home and you'll have buyer's remorse. So what I'm saying is, I know I'm talking very much like my father now. He really beats around the bush. I love you, Dad. When you look at divine feminine, divine masculine, when we're in our heads like this, it's really not the most perfect time to be expecting event horizon and this beautifying process within the relationship, because ultimately speaking, perhaps masculine really needs to get to a point where they are okay with being alone, where they're not finding the next bus ride or the next, you know, fancy car, which can be a feminine or female, I should say, because what they're doing is avoiding their own personal energy of how they're feeling. And it's not, it's almost the fear of hearing their own thoughts or the faith in themselves, which is completely what feminine's gone through and what some of us are still going through right now, where ultimately speaking, when everything's shredded away, what you directly have in front of you is what you directly deal with. It's a bit like falling pregnant and, you know, going, oh my gosh, how am I going to raise this child financially? You just do it. You have no choice. It's what it is. So really, on a 3D nature of what is here in front of us right now is what we need to deal with. What can we directly deal with? And then with the tower moments and the adversity, what it's showing us is what we just never knew about ourselves in the first place, is that we can become creative, solar plexus chakra. We can become powerful, you know, we can balance life out, and then it takes the energy off that codependent, needy energy, and it is purely about a loving relationship, not a codependent relationship, because ultimately speaking, what masculines will run from is what we're showing them, but then it's what they ultimately run into regardless. So in an aspect, we may have come across at some point in time as quite codependent, needy, domineering, and pushy to a point at times, but it may have been at various intervals because masculine wasn't owning their power either, or not really wanting to or ready to spiritually to address those areas. So now feminine, we have that on our to-do list right now, and we're working on that. But we also need to understand that masculine is going to have to do that too. So until they can actually break that cycle, which depending on which feminine you are and which wave, you know, if you have spiritually come to that place where you're saying, hey man, enough is enough, I'm not playing this chess game anymore. And yes, I didn't buy Barbie dolls, but I do have chess pieces coming. So we'll use those as metaphors of, you know. But they have the power to create that. You know, the neediness, again, is a lack inside. And it's almost like, you know, what do we, how do we say love ourselves? Don't be scared to earn your own dollar. Don't be scared to feel your own feelings. It takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. Get to a place where you can actually laugh, where you can mix with your friends, where you can know the own beauty with your own skin and not be fussed about what, I don't know, Bonnie next door thinks about it. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like getting to a place where no makeup, you know who you are inside, and it's what it is. You have your good, your bad, and your ugly days. So coming that full circle where you're not connecting dots as to the reason why another individual, e.g. masculine, has really dealt with something at times in a toxic way, because it doesn't directly connect to you, and our energies really doesn't connect to them. Our codependencies, our insecurities directly belong to us. There's something we need to, and it's because we're the mirror. So that mirroring is just an aspect of what's going on inside ourselves. So really, although masculine has triggered us, we've triggered ourselves because it already lived there. Does that make sense? So check your chakras. Otherwise, if you've got blocks connected to an area, make a booking and I can help you work through the blocks, and we can work out where you can take your power back in certain, you know, certain avenues of life. And, you know, as I said, I'm trying to connect onto the website the chakra-based areas. It's also going to hyperlink into the shop where there are products that you can buy or use to actually help that area. And I will be doing recipes at some stage as well. It's just being super busy at the moment. Usually when the energy goes quiet is because they are directly dealing with something in their 3D life, which means they're being more proactive, and your energy is to disconnect. And it's not to disconnect in a sense, it'll come and go, but when you can't feel them, it's because they are focused on a situation. You will feel them in the next few weeks, trust me. With these planets, you'll feel their energy. It'll be coming. I mean, we're thinking we're going through the, you know, the ebbs and flows, but remember the first week is actually the night. It's the calm before the storm, because they're having a lot of tower moments at the moment. No, more like on a 3D level of what they need to deal with in their life, like as in the real, not the external, because a relationship is external. You know, directly speaking, spiritually in a twin flame journey, it's about us growing spiritually. And when we go away and then we come back, when we physically look at them, some aspect of them has changed. You know, so for us to be an ego saying another person, I mean, it's technically not, because that person is almost like a shadow. Really, theoretically, when you look at it, I mean, they're a human being, but they are a shadow in comparison to the issues that that person spiritually has to deal with. So that isn't going to go away. Just because they have another person next to them doesn't mean to say that that energy that is spiritually within them is going to go away. If anything, it's going to become more difficult to deal with that, which then in turn will affect the direct relationship, because the relationship they're spiritually having with themselves is not in alignment with who they really are. So they're going against the grain of who they really are spiritually. How do I put it? So if they are in a codependent situation or an old cycle going over it, right, they're going to be pushed. Their face is going to be, you know, looking at this situation. And many of the planets haven't been here for a long time. So these energies we're feeling are so heavy this year. I mean, check your energy frequency. Where is it at? Depending on where you are in the journey, spiritually, how evolved you've come. You know, I mean, hey, I can put it down to time, but theoretically, each stage I've gone into the connection with my twin, I definitely have changed. And I did talk to a particular person, I won't say who unless they want to put their hand up. And she was really purging the other day. And she said to me, I'm so angry. It's been so long, you know, and she's been on the journey a long time too, probably as long as I have been. And she said, but, you know, what have I got out of it? And I laughed at my situation because I had a 360 moment. And it was, no, I'm actually really grateful. Really, really grateful in a sense that the tower moments directly, what has triggered in me, has literally almost given me my life back because now I'm seeing, and it's not to the point you don't want anyone in your life. It's you do want that, but they were things I really needed to look at within my own life. You know, the old pains I had that I didn't even know that I was still carrying. You know, the lack of trust in myself to get things done. Yet when I was doing this for other people, it was like I was carrying a mountain, yet I didn't even realize it. So it gave me the clarity that I was more able to achieve certain things um, than I had believed previously. But it's helped me really do a 360 in my life. So it's really a blessing. Yeah, it's very heavy energy with them. But again, you literally need to come to a place where you ultimately, in your twin flame journey, you should always follow your own compass, and you do evolve through the whole thing regardless. But ultimately speaking, when we're helping, controlling, depending on how you want to look at it, depending on how you're handling it, with the trigger points with them, it's not allowing them to own their own power. When people have done things for us, it's prevented growth. So it goes the same way, vice versa. And feminines 9 times out of 10 are really, really helping masculines. We've always seen their complete potential of who they are and who they really are to the core. But until they can accept that inside themselves, we're doing them no favors. And it's actually disrespectful to be acting in that way, theoretically, you know, in hindsight from the way I'm looking at my situation. It's ego based, and really to have complete faith in them spiritually as human beings, because we are in the 3D, that they have all the tools in their life and they make choices every given day, and it is completely their responsibility to make right. You can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink, and if they don't want to, then they will learn very hard lessons. So it's purely up to them. And you can have the love for them, but you also do need to directly, do you know, when the umbilical cord is too connected, it's almost the energy they receive as you'll always be here. And that's not so. I mean, feminines that do get shafted will get to a point where you can't cut the cord, and I'm not saying that, but it's almost you won't keep repeating that cycle. Something will have to change. So it's not that you won't go back in the journey, but you will need to remove yourself from that dynamic spiritually until they can align themselves correctly, because it just won't go anywhere regardless. It's too messy. Do you understand what I'm saying? No, actually, I was quite surprised. My twin, I think through the stages in life, you know, I learnt more about him on this occasion, but there's always more to the person than we ever know, and that's the way life is. But hey, very old fashioned, very, very old fashioned. I was like, wow, I thought I was old fashioned, which was very endearing. I think he has very traditional values where children should be playing in the garden, and it was really nice to see. So he is very spiritual, but he doesn't acknowledge it at that. Very, very. Any other questions before I plod along and get myself sorted, because my daughter's turning me into a cabbie today. She's going to eat me out of house and home once the school holidays is over. But then we must do that ourselves. You know, because that's what I'm trying to say. Remember, when we're speaking, we are our twin's mirror. So how are we directly doing that right now as we're looking at them? We're judging them. Try not to get cooped up on it. Try and look at try and feel the energy, the pure energy of the human being, very separate to what's transpired. When you're purging, yes, deal with that energy, but try and keep meditating on them in their highest potential. I mean, my only wish and desire right now is directly away from expectation now, but my hopes and my desires will be that my twin can come full circle in his life spiritually, and he can be at the most happy place and reach his ultimate potential for him personally. I mean, I think we really should be having that energy towards any person, really, that, you know, they can come home to themselves, because there's no bigger thing than being able to come home to yourself where you're like, right, I feel okay, I love my own skin, I am who I am, it's okay that I've made mistakes in my life, I'm human, you know, all those aspects. So spiritually try and do that towards yourself, which is really what I'm personally working on. It can do, very much so. But you still need to be present in the moment. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of a hard one. It can promote it, yes. But it is divinely guided. When it's supposed to happen is when it'll happen. There is higher ratios of things happening around now. But now is very much a time for really processing past tense situations. So yes, if there needs to be conversations can very well happen around this month. But there are potential doorways from here all the way through to September, October. And then the last ones that haven't really moved forward to make that contact, and that they're really going to be shoved at the end of the year. I don't focus on false twin. I purely feel you know who your twin is, and I think it's something that they put out there that really causes more conflict than help. I mean, I wouldn't even tune into it. If you directly spiritually feel this person's your twin, you're wasting your time even buying into that energy. There's no false twin. There is a twin, and there are soulmates and karmics. That's the way I see it. False twin is a way of giving an excuse to an energy we have placed somewhere. Ultimately speaking, the spiritual connection and gaining clarity on who your twin is, you will directly have a telepathic connection with them. You'll see signs, synchronicities when you're thinking of them. I mean, this week has been really bizarre. You know, the synchronicities. I've been also seeing love hearts everywhere, which is, I'll have to show you, it's really bizarre. About 2 years ago, I was walking and there was a puddle. I'll try and put a thumbnail up after. And it was the complete shape of a love heart. And the funny thing was, the way the light was coming down on the red dirt, it literally looked like a big love heart. And then I just kept seeing love hearts everywhere, the infinity symbol. And probably in the last week, I have been bombarded with friggin' love hearts. I mean, I dropped milk on the bench and there was a love heart on the bench. Then I walked outside and there was a love heart leaf. And I was like, you have to be joking. And I showed Jen, and I don't know where that one is. And then I found another one. And I'll show you. It's so bizarre. Ugh. My back's stiff from gardening. It's killing me. It's like, okay, universe, fair enough. So I have to put it against the wall because it's green. I squashed it. Love heart. Yeah. So just everywhere. And it's like, okay, universe, thank you. Probably in the last, the video? We've been on here for 34 minutes. But it can be rewatched because it will be uploaded and saved. Yeah, so there's been a lot of synchronicities. Numbers. Lots of numbers have been really amping up. Some numbers are bouncing back and forward. It's like we're going back over old ground. We're going forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards. It can be a vibration that comes over of feeling very grounded all of a sudden. It's like grab onto that, you know, and then all of a sudden it feels like it's going backwards and we're getting dragged down. It does feel like a dark night of the soul. But again, is it ours? Is it theirs? You know, some of it is, some of it isn't. Some of the memories that are coming up, you need to realize it might be something they're spiritually thinking about and they're really feeling quite triggered by. I was looking at a picture. I've got like Google on my TV and it shows thumbnails of like pictures from different painters and photographers. And I was looking at this beach on this screen, and the funny thing was I'd actually painted a beach, and that was when I was getting in touch more with my creative side, the tactile side. And there was a home in New Zealand where I lived, and there was a beautiful white house on a hill, and I used to picture myself there writing a novel. And it was like I remembered that, then I remembered my special beach. Now my special beach is connected to twin, and of course there was 1111 on the time, and it was like, okay. But how is it that they don't see theirs will be coming through now? There's a time frame in the synchronicities. Like my synchronicities have only really been here probably in the last 3 years, really. So it depends on when their awakening to it comes. Remember, feminines we go through different stages of awakenings, so to speak. So if you had been seeing them for a while, theirs is coming through now. Birds everywhere. Parrots, lovebirds, swans, doves. Finances. Giggle. And really, the abundance is directly connected to heart chakra. Do you believe some twins never come together? No, I don't. Through choice, maybe, if you choose not to. But I feel the duality comes from you. It is a choice. So it wouldn't be you don't have an opportunity to. It would be that you both spiritually choose not to. And it would be a joint decision. Because at the moment, it's actually any spiritual growth is divinely guided. So even if they don't want to grow, they're going to be forced to grow. I've been forced to grow. Loving it. How long has it been, Lady L? How long have you been waiting, Sweet? How long's forever? Could be a few lifetimes, maybe. But the work has nothing to do with karmic. See, that's where feminines get caught up in this journey. That's where you're needing to do sacral chakra and solar plexus work. Solar plexus, I believe. You know, owning your power is realizing that a karmic has nothing to do with you. They're not replacing you, Kathleen. It's more about the fact, okay, if you have a block emotionally speaking and you need to spiritually grow, which is, it's not connected to anyone, it's completely connected to you. If they have got into a karmic relationship, then they've avoided the reality. The reality isn't that that other person can fulfill them. They can't fulfill themselves. And then when they get that, what they'll realize is they're still not fulfilled. And that's going to give them the clarity that then it's not about any person they're with, especially if it's been a cycle where they keep doing it. they're going to the next ship and the next ship and the next ship. It's like, Houston, we have a problem. You are the ship. And that's what I had to look at. It was like, hang on a minute, Yildiz, there's a common denominator here. And I'm a firm believer in that. If you have a cycle happening in your life, you need to break that cycle. And the only way you can do it is be self-aware. You know, okay, well, let's not give your power away here. Yes, let's be a bit critical with yourself right now. Where does this directly relate to me? So it may be, Kathleen, in your life, you're feeling that too many people have taken you for a ride and nobody has ever chosen you. And I said that to my twin. And it's the thing was, I hadn't ever chosen myself. I'd never said, listen, I'm worth this. I was always saying, I'll keep buying your love, you know, and it's like, I'm not buying no love no more. I know my worth. So let it go. Let it go. Yes, I have options, but at the moment, my option is me getting grounded and just coming home to myself. I'm okay with conversations with my twin. I think that would be quite healing. I'm probably more grounded. Yes, I have my good and bad days, but I'm seeing situations a lot clearer now, you know, and you need that time to have the dust settle so that can be open for, you know, it to naturally be able to evolve. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, well, we are our own common denominators, but the thing is we mirror each other. So we say something, but then it's like with me with readings, you know, saying something to another person in a reading, it will always directly have something directly connected to me. So then, you know, we do have to practice what we preach. So we do always then as readers come back and go, okay, how does this directly relate to me? Did I get anything out of that reading? Was there something that maybe I need to practice and work on myself? And Jen's perfect for that. Thanks, Jen. I did say that the 5-minute rule, you know, for actually meditating on a trigger, not a burn mark or history. You know, if you've had a tower moment, the healing process is going to take a lot longer than the 5-minute rule. But Jen's rule of thumb that she's taught me has been, if it's a trigger, you know, when you're conversing with your twin or another person, to only have 5 minutes, you know, processing that, dig to where it came from, and then go, okay, this isn't directly connected to twin, this isn't directly connected to mother, father, or whatever's going on at that 3D situation at that time. Becoming self-aware is crucial, Jen. So we were debating that the other day because obviously with certain situations that have happened in my life, certain aspects 5 minutes, and I am purging and moving through them quicker. Other things is like, yeah, that's going to take a bit of time, and I'm okay with that. That's part of it. It's, you have your good days, you have your bad. So, you know, if there's been karmic situations, for instance, well, hey, Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes a bit of time, and you can be gentle with yourself. But you do need to be proactive in your life to not stay in that frequency and that energy. Well, that's healing too. Yeah, many numbers. I'm seeing a lot of butterflies and ladybugs. I feel a lot of evolution and, you know, things changing. What about you, Jen? What have you been seeing, lady? Care to share? I've got a koala in my cup. I'm in Australia. Any questions before I run away? But just check your chakras. So during the day, think on maybe trigger points. Shoot. Bear, wolves, and eagles. Yes. Well, the 441 is directly connected to union, I believe. A guy. I feel several energies around you. That's problematic. I can see several love interests. I don't see one. That may be the problem. Yeah, 444, 444, 414. BR, but you have 3 people that are interested in you, Crystal. Okay, this person I can see is connected to either a university or connected to a family member. Yeah, 222 111. Hi, Lenny. So is that correct? Is that the person you were asking me about? So is this person connected to a sibling, perhaps? Do they know your sibling? As a colleague? Well, it feels like I can see a building. Is it a large building? It can be where they studied, perhaps. Lots of numbers and butterflies, Jen. Yeah, I've been seeing lots of butterflies, even the cocooning effect as well. Caterpillars going into cocoon. Oh, Lord. Okay, I've seen a lot of fireflies lately. Yeah, so we are having a transition. But to the lady who asked about the person she wants me to tune into, the problem is there's actually 3 people interested in you at the moment. And it may, I'm sort of feeling as though she's still healing. And so the energy you're having towards this person isn't as high as it should be. It's sort of like you are keen, but it's not for the given reason you're thinking. It's more because you're trying to keep your mind off a different person. So I will love yous and leave yous. I hope you have a wonderful evening or day wherever you are. And if you are wanting a booking, you can go to the website. For the first clients, it is discounted. Okay, guys. Bye.